Aloha class. So my topic today is fostering reflection. This was based on an article by Lana M. Danielson, and she is a professor and department chairperson in the Teacher Education Department of the University of Nebraska. She has a bachelor's in English. She studied at Wayne State College. Then she went on to do her master's in curriculum at the University of Iowa. And then finally she did her PhD in English education and curriculum at the University of Iowa as well. Some of her research includes English education and composition. Interests are reflective thinking, mentoring and professional development. Also she has an interest in curriculum development, reading and writing and content areas. So that's a little bit about the author. Now we'll move into the subject. Okay, so Professor Danielson, she talks about two different types of teachers. First of all, there's a teacher that will see a situation, something will happen, and then automatically they'll just jump to one conclusion, not really think about anything too much, they'll just come to a conclusion straight away. But she said in order to be an effective teacher, we need to first look at the dilemma, second, gather information, and then we need to study the problem, try and find out why it happened, what's caused it, and then finally we need to, from asking questions and getting to know the situation, we need to gain that new knowledge of what has happened, and then eventually we need to come to a wise decision or a solution. Okay. So she comes up with 4 modes of thinking, and this is really the crux of the whole article here. So she suggests that the levels of thinking increase in complexity as we go higher throughout this pyramid that is on the screen. Lowest of all is technological thinking, next situational thinking, then deliberate thinking, and then finally dialectical thinking. Okay. So we're going to go through that. This is based on work done by Grimmett in 1990. Okay, so technological or formulaic thinking, already established patterns or ways of doing things. For example, adhering to school policies, standardizing teaching procedures. This works for routine things like taking attendance, transitioning between subjects. So this is very following the mold, following what's already been done in the school, the existing patterns and ways of doing things. Okay, so you don't have to think too much, you just have to go with what's been done already. However, as I put, does the teacher understand why they're doing these things? Perhaps not, perhaps they're just going with the flow. The next level of thinking is situational thinking. This type of thinking is used by a teacher who acts in the moment. They notice something or an event that occurs. Okay. However, there's no time is taken to consider or analyze why the event took place. So they just automatically react. Like I said, the first example of a teacher, they'll see a situation and they'll just come to a conclusion. So this is situational thinking, just seeing something and then reacting to it. Next is deliberate thinking. So I put a teacher using deliberate thinking will try to consider all the reasons why an event or situation took place. For example, if a student is misbehaving, they may pull them aside to find out why they are behaving that way, or they may talk to the students or the teachers. So this is the teacher I'm talking about. If the teacher sees a student misbehaving, they're going to want to find out what's happening. They're going to talk to them, perhaps talk to their parents, perhaps talk to other teachers and observe them and see if there's a root cause as to why they're behaving that way. So exploring the problem, that is deliberate thinking. Next and finally is dialectical thinking. This builds upon what deliberate thinking has been done, and it works to provide solutions to the problem. Okay, so it's not just trying to understand, but it's trying to come up with solutions. As I put, this type of thinking helps a teacher to implement appropriate changes according to the knowledge learnt from deliberate thinking. And finally, some methods to implement reflective thinking. First, we can talk to colleagues and mentors and see what questions they can prompt us to think about and what probing questions they can ask. Next, we can participate in study groups, role plays, help get those practical skills and learn from others. And then finally, it's suggested in the article by Professor Danielson that we can reflect on ourselves, we can self-assess. And she offers an example of actually keeping a journal, so we can see the situations that have happened, what perhaps has caused them as we look back on them. And then finally, she states that if any of this is to help us or to be worthwhile, we must make these habits. Okay, so we must continually do this if we're going to continually improve in reflective thinking. And that's it.